Hello and welcome to my pocket guide, which just condenses a lot of the information and gives some recommendations. Now this comes with the caveat that there is no one size fits all, and there's a lot of nuance to Umamusume, so I do encourage you to learn what you can about the game. This is going to be just some advice that I can give about general recommendations and what you might want to do and how you can build your team. So here are the details for the Capricorn Cup. Pace is going to be very strong in the Capricorn Cup. It's probably the strongest position. Here are some options you can use for pace. You want to make sure that you can pick up Speed Star if you can, Head On if you can. Umasen is also a good inherit to use. Here I have also listed the aptitude of Sprint for the Umas at the bottom. You can consider using these Umas if you're able to build up their Sprint aptitude. Late is what I would consider the second best position to run in. You can get On Your Left, which is a very good late skill, and King Halo is available for players that don't really have other options, and she's also just a very good late surger in the CM. Fronts are going to have a harder time in the CM because the main acceleration, angling, and scheming does not work. The only front that I would consider to be viable to win is going to be a Smart Falcon, who really does want to be a solo front so that she can delay her unique proc until the very beginning of the late race. You can run another front, which can act as a spoiler to other people's Smart Falcons, especially if you don't have a Falcon of your own. So a second front will be able to proc Falcon's unique early, which prevents her from getting that acceleration late race. Additionally, you can run a front to block what's called a lucky pace, which is where if there is no front in the room, a pace chaser will get the designation of a pace setter, which gives them a pretty big buff and allows them to lead the pack into the late race. However, I don't think that a non-Falcon front has a lot of win equity in the CM. And closers are also in a bit of a rough spot. You can get straightaway Spurt, or if you are married to Taishan, you should get Encroaching Shadow. However, it will be difficult for you to catch up with the pace chasers by the end of the race. Here is an example team that you can use. Bakshin, Air Groove, and King Halo are all free-to-play horses that you are able to use on this track, except Air Groove will need a couple of sparks to get her sprint to A. The meta team I would consider to be Kurin-chan and Smart Falcon and an additional pace, whether that pace is El Condor Pasa, who is very strong on this track but has an aptitude of F, or one of these other horses is up to you. I will also say that triple pace is fine. A lot of people are running triple pace, and pace chasers in general are very meta on this track, so you won't really be penalized for running a triple pace comp. For stats, Surf S is going to be a little bit better than Sprint S, but both are still good to get. You'll want to get as close to cap speed as you can, and really for stamina and guts, you just want to be able to beat your career. You can try to guts max if you want to go for a big guts build, which might help you in dueling in the late race, but I haven't really noticed it to be that significant. I would much rather get a very high power and a very high wit stat. In order to get a very high power stat, you will want to use power sparks because you don't really want to bring power cards in your deck, since that will dilute your overall deck and make it harder to reach these stats. For skills, you do want to get some gold gamble skills because these are going to give you a lot of acceleration on a track that otherwise does not have a lot of reliable acceleration. So for example, Victoria Parplancha and Give Mummy a Hug both have 0.1 acceleration, whereas Rushing Gale, Turbo Sprint, and Plant X all have 0.4. However, these are not going to reliably hit in a good spot, so picking up one or two of them will give you the ability to kind of high roll on your races, but they also are not going to be reliable. So you do want to pick up a couple of them just because most people would be picking up a couple of them, and since you're running 3 horses in the first place, you might as well gamble on one of them hitting, but I would not load up your entire kit with all 4 of these. You also want to get a lot of corner skills since the entire mid-race is on a corner, and in order to better position your Uma to win, they need to be able to have very strong corner abilities. So sprint corners, style corners, Professor of Curvature are all useful. It's On is also a very nice skill to take for mid-race, and comboing those with Tail Held High is going to be very strong. For a deck, if you have an easy career, you probably want to run to speed for wit. Your borrow priority if you're a pace chaser should be Fine Motion. If you are a late surger, it should be Nice Nature. If you have that, you can borrow Bakshin instead because she does give that gold gambling acceleration skill. Biko also gives a gold gambling acceleration skill, but Bakshin's skill is a little bit more reliable on this track. If you have a high stamina career, you want to swap out one of your wit for a Rico. Ideally, you'd use your own if you can. Low limit breaks are totally fine, but you want to make sure that you have that Rico so that you can build some stamina during your career without worrying too much about diluting your deck. And Rico additionally gives that Rushing Gale skill, which will be useful. So if you do bring Rico, make sure that you date her all 5 times so that you can get Rushing Gale. If you already have Rico, you can again use Fine Motion or Nice Nature. And if you already have both of those, you can borrow Bakshin again. Here's an example of an Uma that I've built for the upcoming CM. Fuji has a 20% power growth and a 10% wit growth, and I additionally gave her 15 power sparks to reach this stat line. She has Turf S here. She also has Victoria por Plancha and Give Mummy a Hug, inherited from Mummy Creek and El Condor Pasa. She has a pretty strong mid-race with Sprint Corners, Professor of Curvature, Pace Chaser Corners, Speed Star, It's On, and Tail Held High. And then additionally, she has a couple of RNG skills such as Head On and Turbo Sprint. I have uploaded the run where I've made this Fuji, and I'll go ahead and link it in the description. And that's all I have for this pocket guide. I wanted to give a very condensed guide because I have had a lot of requests for it. So thank you so much, and if you like this style of guide, please let me know. I tend to prefer trying to help people reach conclusions rather than just kind of giving what I think is best, because I think that everybody's interpretation of what is best is going to be different, and I want to respect that. However, I do also acknowledge that some people just want information on what to do, and I want to be able to also provide that to the best of my abilities. So just let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.